The Pearce family bore a burden, a chilling secret. A curse followed them like a hungry ghost. It whispered in the wind. It clung to them like their own skin. No escape, no solace. Generations of Pearces lived under this shadow. They knew. They always knew that death waited for them. A gruesome, untimely end was their birthright. Each generation prayed to be the last, to break the chains of this ancient evil. Their pleas went unanswered. The curse, like a venomous serpent, would strike again. It took them in the prime of their lives, each death more horrifying than the last, a macabre masterpiece of suffering. The source? A mystery shrouded in whispers, passed down through hushed conversations. It was their legacy, a legacy of blood and pain. In the attic of the Pearce Manor, a book lay hidden. It was not just any book, but a relic of the family's dark and twisted past. Covered in dust and cobwebs, it held the family's dark history. A history that was whispered about in hushed tones, a history that no one dared to confront. Bound in leather, the book was more a tome, a testament to their suffering. Its cover, worn and aged, seemed to pulse with the weight of the stories it held within. Its pages, brittle with age, detailed the curse. Each page a fragment of a nightmare, each word a link in the chain that bound the family to their fate, each death, each cruel twist of fate. The book chronicled every misfortune, every tragedy that had befallen the Pearce family. It was all there, meticulously recorded. The ink, though faded, still told the tale of a family cursed through generations, a genealogy of despair. The family called it the Book of Curses. It was a name that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who heard it. Inside its pages one could find entries that spoke of lives cut short, of dreams shattered, handwritten accounts of the Pearce men and their demise. Each story more tragic than the last, each life a testament to the curse's unrelenting grip, each chillingly similar, each echoing the same gruesome tune. The curse did not discriminate. It claimed them all with the same merciless hand. The book was a testament to their pain, a grim reminder that they were not masters of their own fate. It was a symbol of their helplessness, their inability to escape the shadows of their past. Ezra Pearce, the last of his line, knew of the book. He had heard the stories, felt the weight of the curse in his bones. He'd spent countless nights in the attic, tracing the faded ink, trying to understand the curse that had plagued his family for generations, feeling the weight of his ancestors' terror, the fear that had been passed down to him, the dread that he might be the next victim. He hoped against hope that his life would be different, that he could find a way to break free from the curse's grip, that he would be the one to break the curse, to end the cycle of suffering and bring peace to the Pearce family once and for all. Ezra's great-grandfather, Elias, was a carpenter. He was known far and wide for his craftsmanship, creating beautiful pieces of furniture that stood the test of time. His workshop was a place of wonder, filled with the scent of fresh wood and the sound of tools at work, a strong man, full of life. Elias was not just a carpenter, he was an artist, a man who poured his soul into his work. His hands, though calloused, moved with a grace that belied their strength. The book told of his demise, a building scaffold, sabotaged. It was a day like any other, but fate had other plans. The scaffold, which had always been sturdy, suddenly gave way. Elias crushed beneath a mountain of timber. The weight was unbearable, and the life was snuffed out of him in an instant. The vibrant man, who once breathed life into wood, was now lifeless beneath it. His death was ruled an accident. The authorities closed the case quickly, but whispers of foul play lingered. Some said it was jealousy, others spoke of a curse. My life taken by treachery, not by fate. These words, scrawled in a tattered journal, hinted at a darker truth. Elias's spirit seemed to cry out from beyond the grave, seeking justice. His grandfather, Silas, met a more gruesome end. Silas was a man of the land, a farmer who toiled from dawn till dusk. His fields were his pride, and he worked them with a dedication that was almost religious. A farmer, Silas was found in his field. The sun had set, and the shadows grew long when his lifeless body was discovered. The scene was one of horror, a stark contrast to the peaceful life he had led, his body mangled, torn apart by some unseen force. The authorities were baffled, and the community was gripped by fear. What could have done such a thing? The answer eluded them. The authorities blamed wild animals. It was the only explanation that made sense to them. But those who knew Silas knew there was more to the story. The wild animals were a convenient scapegoat, but the book told a different story, a story of unimaginable horror. The pages were filled with illustrations that seemed to come alive, depicting scenes of terror that chilled the soul.
The curse, it hunts in shadows, unseen but ever present. It was a malevolent force lurking in the darkness, waiting to strike. No one was safe from its reach.
Then came Ezra's father, Ethan, a man of science, a respected doctor who dedicated his life to healing others. He was a pillar of the community, admired and loved by many. A respected doctor, he died in the sterile confines of his own hospital room. It was a place where life was supposed to be preserved, but for Ethan it became his final resting place. A sudden illness, they called it, a rare, aggressive disease. It struck without warning, leaving the medical community puzzled and helpless. But Ezra knew the truth. He had seen the fear in his father's eyes, the look of a man who knew his fate was sealed, not by disease, but by something far more sinister, heard the whispers of the curse in his final breaths. Ethan's last words were a warning, a plea for his son to be vigilant.
The curse. It will come for you, my son. These words echoed in Ezra's mind, a constant reminder of the danger that loomed over him.
These stories haunted Ezra. They were not just tales of the past, but a grim reality that he could not escape. The weight of his family's history bore down on him. They were not just entries in a dusty book. They were a legacy of pain and suffering passed down through generations. Each page was a testament to the curse's relentless grip. They were a chilling premonition, a reminder that his time was running out. The clock was ticking and the shadows were closing in. Ezra knew he had to find a way to break the curse, or it would consume him just as it had his ancestors.
I can't shake this feeling, Ezra. The curse. It feels so close now.
Lilith, Ezra's wife, shared his burden. She knew of the curse, witnessed its impact on Ezra. She'd read the book, felt the icy grip of fear. Now she carried their child, a new life. Fear gnawed at her. The curse, a dark cloud hanging over their happiness.
Will our child be the next victim? Another sacrifice to this ancient evil?
She prayed for a miracle, a sign that their child would be spared. But deep down, a part of her knew. The curse was relentless. It didn't discriminate. It took who it wanted, when it wanted, and it always claimed a Pearce. Every Pearce man bore a mark, a birthmark, a small crimson handprint on their left shoulder blade, a chilling reminder of the curse that bound them, a brand that marked them for death. The mark appeared at birth, a cruel joke from fate. It was their inheritance, a legacy of pain and suffering. The mark was a constant reminder of their mortality, a ticking clock counting down to their demise. Ezra had it. His father had it. Every Pearce man for generations bore this gruesome stamp. It was more than a birthmark. It was a symbol of their doom. Deep within the Book of Curses, Ezra found a letter. Hidden between the pages, a confession. It was from his ancestor Magnus Pearce, the man who started it all. Magnus wrote of a deal with a dark entity, a pact for power and wealth. The price, his bloodline. His descendants cursed for eternity. His words dripped with regret, a testament to his folly. The letter was a chilling revelation, a glimpse into the origins of their suffering. It confirmed their worst fears. The curse was real, and it was bound to them by blood, and by...
My greed has damned us all.
Dr. Reyes, a renowned geneticist, refused to believe in curses. He studied the Pearce family, their history, their genetics. He searched for a scientific explanation, a rational reason for the pattern of deaths. His research led him to a startling discovery. A rare genetic anomaly present in the Pearce men. This anomaly, he believed, was responsible for their untimely deaths. It was a ticking time bomb within their DNA. His discovery offered a glimmer of hope. If it was genetic, maybe it could be cured. Maybe the cycle could be broken. But was it truly a genetic anomaly, or was Dr. Reyes blind to the supernatural forces at play?
The anomaly is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's almost as if their DNA is cursed.
The day finally arrived. Lilith, after hours of labor, gave birth to a healthy baby boy. The room was filled with a mix of exhaustion and joy, the air thick with the weight of the moment. Ezra's heart swelled with love as he held his newborn son for the first time. The tiny fingers, the soft skin, everything about the baby filled him with an overwhelming sense of pride and happiness. But the joy was short-lived. A sudden, inexplicable fear gripped Ezra's heart. It was as if a dark cloud had suddenly overshadowed the bright moment. As he held his son closer, he noticed something unusual. His eyes widened in disbelief as he saw it. On the baby's left shoulder blade, a mark, a small crimson handprint. The curse lived on. The prophecy was fulfilled. Despair washed over Ezra. The mark was a chilling reminder of the family's dark past. His son, his legacy, was now bound to the same fate. The weight of generations of suffering now rested on the tiny shoulders of his newborn. The curse, like a shadow, had stretched across generations. It was an unbroken chain, linking the past to the present and now to the future. It had claimed another victim. The innocent baby, unaware of the dark legacy he had inherited, now bore the mark of the Pearce family curse. A newborn baby, innocent and pure, now bore the mark of the Pearce family curse. The room, once filled with joy, now felt cold and foreboding. It was a chilling reminder that some things are beyond our control. No matter how much we try to escape, some fates are inescapable. That some fates are sealed before we are even born. The prophecy had foretold this moment, and now it had come to pass.
Ezra, what is that on his shoulder? The question hung in the air, heavy with dread and confusion.
Ezra's face turned pale as he realized the grim reality. The curse had not been broken, it had only been passed on. The weight of this realization was almost too much to bear. The curse had not been broken, it had only been passed on. The family's dark history was now etched into the skin of the next generation, a haunting reminder of their inescapable fate. Did this story send chills down your spine? Like the video, subscribe and hit the bell for more terrifying true horror stories. Share this with someone brave enough to watch.